Today, we're going to talk about brain training basics and the one thing you can do right now to start making a change that lasts. Thinking about thinking is really the key to this simple practice, and understanding why everything works the way it works starts with a few reminders about your nervous system. It is the body's primary control center. It's the command, control, and communication network that manages everything from automatic functions like breathing and keeping your heart beating to movement, thought, and how you feel your emotions. It processes sensory input and coordinates how you'll respond to both internal and external stimulus. It gathers, interprets, processes, and integrates information and sends out the signals to trigger action. And your nervous system is always scanning for safety or threat. So before you even think a thought or make a decision, your body's already getting ready to respond. And this is a great thing and an amazing thing when you're in an emergency situation. And if the circumstances are intense, you can learn some really important lessons pretty quickly. And depending on the impression the experience leaves on your brain, some of those lessons are definitely going to stick. But it's not so great if you're not in the middle of an emergency. And it's not good at all for intentionally teaching yourself a new way to respond. When the nervous system is dysregulated, whether it's overly anxious or shut down or busy bracing itself for an emergency, even if there is no immediate threat, the brain starts shifting into survival mode. And in survival mode, you aren't usually building new pathways, at least not intentionally creating or strengthening new ones. You're almost always repeating and strengthening the old ones, even if they're not really serving you anymore. So, brain training isn't really so much about positive thinking, it's about creating the internal conditions where intentional learning is possible. And it is possible. The human brain is capable of change at any time and at any age. And in the simplest terms, neuroplasticity is just the brain's ability to reorganize itself based on repeated experience. And one of the simplest, most powerful tools for that kind of work is thinking about thinking, or what they call metacognition. And we can break that down into three subsets as metacognitive knowledge, or understanding how your own mind works, metacognitive regulation, or intentionally managing the process of learning and rewiring the mental pathways, and metacognitive experiences, where you're recognizing the feelings attached to certain experiences and repeating the experiences that strengthen the desired path. So what you practice mentally, emotionally, and physically is what your brain strengthens. And you do have to do it on purpose, and you have to do it on a regular basis. But there's a really easy way to start doing all three right now. The name of this game is If You Can Name It, You Can Change It. So let's start with your thoughts. Thoughts have patterns. We've already talked about this. They have a tone, they have themes, and familiar subject matter that keeps repeating. And if you can identify the tone or theme of the thought, this is urgent, this is self-critical, this is out of control, this is from the past or looking into the future, you're naming it. And you move from being lost in the thought to observing it. And if you create a practice that helps you identify the thoughts that you're thinking on a regular basis, you will start to recognize those patterns. And even if we aren't talking about a long-term practice, just in this moment, that shift of being able to pause and identify the thought you're thinking in some way, that alone reduces the load on the nervous system. The ability to observe it, just that, signals safety. And it tells the brain we're not under immediate threat right now. And you don't have to push the thought away. You're just interrupting it for long enough to send that new signal that says you're safe. And that can make an immediate difference in the next thoughts you think, for sure. But if you make it a regular practice, you'll be strengthening a new path with the signal that says thinking is not a threat. And you can do the exact same thing with any emotions that come up. Emotions really are just signals that your nervous system sends out. And emotional literacy is my favorite part of the Name It to Change It game. I feel anxious, I feel angry, or sad, or frustrated. As soon as you identify it, especially if you can name it out loud, but even if you just say it to yourself in your head, you're sending that safety signal. Even if the feeling is still there after you name it, your ability to observe the feeling makes a new imprint on the nervous system. And this is not just a symbolic practice. Research has shown that naming emotions reduces activity in the threat centers of the brain and increases regulation. So the procedure is the same. What am I feeling right now? And once you've identified it, there's still nothing to fix. You can go back to the playlist and practice sitting with the feeling. That tells the brain feelings can be present in my experience without the threat of danger, and that strengthens the new path. You can do the same thing with the physical body. Notice and name your physical state to make the change. And that works whether it's discomfort or stress or exhaustion or even a sense of laziness or boredom that's showing up in the physical body. Your neurological system isn't just responsible for controlling your body, it's also responding to it all the time. It's always responding to your breathing and your posture and your movements and your environment. Slowing your breathing is so easy and it sends the safety signal. Putting your attention on steady physical activity or self-care habits for intentional relaxation will absolutely help to anchor the mind. Changing your physical space or position, sometimes even just to stand up or step into the next room, can significantly reduce the cognitive load because the body and brain are in constant communication. When the body settles in a healthy way, so does your brain, at least a little bit. And I always like to encourage you to do all of this when good things are happening too. Make that part of the practice. It's an important part. When you're thinking good thoughts and feeling happy feelings and doing physical things that feel good, name that to strengthen the new path. The practice is so simple, it's crazy, but I know simple and easy are not always the same thing. The hardest part of this is getting yourself to do it. If you can remind yourself to pause, you're winning the game. You are. Name the thought, name the emotion, name your physical state. That's it. That's brain training 101. And I swear it works. I promise it does. And there is an immediate benefit. You will almost certainly feel at least a little bit different right away. Especially if you extend that pause just for an extra second to pat yourself on the back a little bit for remembering to catch yourself in the middle of thinking or feeling or doing something that you don't really want. And I've got lots and lots of ideas for other things that you can do, but this one comes first because you can do it anytime and it applies to everything. And you will start to respond differently to what's happening around you and in here because your brain's going to start automatically moving in a new direction. But rewiring your brain is something that happens over time. So, for better or worse, new pathways are formed by what you repeat, and that's why we practice.